Hi, I'll be delivering a Pilates session today, as I'm sure you all know, seeing as you're on here. But considering the circumstances, ideally it'd be perfect if I could do this live so I can see how you're doing. If you've got any injuries, any issues, I'd kind of leave it, maybe see if you get some advice from your GP, if you can call them up before you partake in any kind of exercise that you're not normally used to doing. But for now, for this session, if you've got a strap, that's perfect. It's just a solid strap. Quite often we use these on the mats themselves to keep them strapped up. And if you can have a block, get yourself a block. We're only going to use that briefly, to be fair, but you can also use a pillow if you need to. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off lying down on the mat in our base position. So in this base position, we want to make sure our feet are about hip width apart, legs bent just under 90 degrees. And we're going to start off with our alignment. So if we place our hands on our pelvis, all we're going to do is we're going to tilt the pelvis forward, pushing the tailbone in towards the mat. We're then going to do the opposite, tilting the pelvis backwards. And then this point is good to kind of refer to as it's what we call the imprinted spine, or sometimes a flat back. And this is a position we often go into. So what we're going to do now is find our neutral position, our neutral spine. And all we're going to do is tilt the pelvis forward and then backwards. And we're going to slowly reduce that range of motion until we find that kind of middle area between those two extremes. And then once we've found that, we're going to hold that there, place our hands back down to our sides. And from here, we're just going to think about our pelvic floor and our core. So pelvic floor, if we imagine we've got almost like a trampoline, and all we're going to do is pull that up towards a rib cage, holding it to around about 30% engagement. And then we're going to do the same with our core. So if you think about now the belly button, or think about like a corset we've got going around, we've got a transverse abdominis, which I often refer to as that kind of corset muscle. We're trying to activate that. So if we imagine just drawing that belly button in 10, 20, and then 30%, and then again just holding that there. So both pelvic floor and core want to be working simultaneously. Good. So before we get started again, I want to talk you through Pilates breathing. Ideally, if you can do the Pilates breathing, perfect. If you're struggling, just make sure you're breathing. So we're going to go finger and thumb on the outside of the rib cage, and all we're going to do is we're going to breathe in for our nose, out for a mouth. And then as you're breathing in through the nose, try and imagine breathing into the back of the rib cage. As you're doing that, you should find your hands expand out to the sides. If we can really think about keeping the belly button in, making sure the movement comes from our rib cage rather than our belly, then perfect. It just means that we're still maintaining that core engagement. Just doing a couple of those just to get used to it. Thinking about the pelvic floor and core engaged, trying to keep that neutral spine. Good. And then dropping it down there. So if we just start off with the neck, inhaling to prepare, exhaling as we turn over to one side, and then inhale back into the center, exhale over to the other side, inhale to center. Go for one more on each side. Good. Back up there. And then just setting your shoulder blades or shoulder girdle into a good position. So if we imagine just walking our shoulder blades down towards our feet, holding that position there, keeping the shoulders away from your ears. All we're going to do from here is we're going to inhale as we bring our arms up and overhead, and then exhale down and around. Inhale, up and overhead, exhale down and around. Good. Dropping your arms back down to the sides there, going into what we call a dead bug. So in this position, start off nice and easy, both arms up in the sky, feet where they are. Bit of coordination as well. So what we're going to do is extend one leg, and then the opposite arm goes overhead, just sliding that heel along the floor and then sliding it back up to So it's that starting position. Same again on the other side. Good, and as we're doing this, just making sure our ribcage stays down, making sure we're not hyperextending that lower part of the back. And if we want, we can advance just a little bit further, so we can come up into tabletop 1 foot at a time. If we can, emphasize that neutral spine, or just hold that neutral spine, or emphasize a flat back or an imprinted spine. So that imprinted spine just keeps your back a little bit more safer, but the neutral spine is ideal. And then in this position here, what we're going to do, same again, we're going to extend one arm, opposite leg, draw it back into center, exhale, over to the other side, inhale, back into center. Good, so this is just waking up the core a little bit. Just being aware we don't want any movement in the spine as we're doing this. Good. And then what we're going to do there, drop one leg back down, then the other back into our base position. We're going to place our hands behind our head. We're going to go into a curl up. So in this one, we want to think about pelvic floor, core engaged about 30%. Make sure we can maintain that neutral spine as much as possible. So inhale to prepare, exhale as you slowly curl the head and shoulders off the floor. Inhale back into center. So making sure with this one, hands are just supporting the weight of the head. We never want to be forcefully pushing it or pulling it. So it's just to stop that neck strain basically. So inhale as we come down, exhale as we come up. And particularly as you come down, try and control that movement. You might be able to tell from my voice that as I come down, it can feel a bit shaky, which is normal. It just means that we're struggling, our body's struggling to kind of control that movement. So we want to think about emphasizing that control aspect rather than just letting our body drop to make it easier for ourselves. Good. Just doing a few more of these. And then we can progress it. So if we want to progress it further, continue with this one if you want, or bring one foot then the other, neutral spine or flat back. And then what we're going to do from here is repeat the same thing. So coming up, inhale as we come down, exhale as we come up. Add a bit more to this, so if you want, bring your feet back down to the mat if you want to make it a bit more easy on yourselves, or keep your feet up. And what we're going to do is going to go into a curl up and into a twist. Inhale as we come back down, exhale, curl up and twist over to the other side. Inhale as we come back down. So try and keep your knees over the hip joint. Try not to bring it in, keep that position as it is. Good, and as you're doing this, just make sure the rotation comes from the torso as much as possible. It's quite common for, or the instincts would be to kind of pull the head across or the elbows across the face. Try your best to keep your elbows in the peripheral vision and almost think about bringing the shoulder across to the knee rather than the elbow. So we get that emphasis of the torso rotating. Good. And next one, coming into this tabletop position if you're not already in it. Hands continues to be behind the head. What we're going to do is we're going to curl up, keep that curled up position, and then we're going to slowly do a crisscross. So to make it easier, you're going to bring your feet up to the sky and then get that rotation and then draw it back into the center. And then same again over to the other side. The higher the feet, the easier it tends to be. If you want, go to about 45 degrees to make it a little bit harder. Or if you're sadistic and you want to make it harder on yourself, go nice and low so the foot's just hovering above the floor. So breathing pattern with this one. If you exhale As you extend and rotate, inhale, so you draw it back into the center there. Getting elbows in the peripheral vision, making sure you're not swinging it across the side of your face. Getting that rotation from the torso. As you start to struggle, make sure you've still got that pelvic floor engaged. Belly button in to about 30% at least. Good. Going for 2 more on each side. And last one. Good. And just take a moment, pull your knees in, roll side to side just briefly. And coming back into tabletop, one leg then the other. This next one we're going to emphasise keeping our spine flat in the back, head and shoulders on the ground, hands down to the sides. We don't want to go any further with the knees coming in. We want to keep those knees over the hip joint. And then from here, what we're going to do is just concentrate on our kind of lower abs. So neutral spine or flat back. Safer position is in that flat back position. And what we're going to do is we're just going to extend one leg out, draw it back in. Exhale as you extend, inhale as you draw it back in. Again, if you want to make it a bit harder, all you're going to do is you're going to lower that leg to the ground. If you want to make it easier, extend that leg straight up to the sky. So, a couple of variants. So essentially, if you want to make it harder, go lower. If you want to make it easier, aim for the sky. Good, keep it going. Just a couple more. Making sure pelvic floor is engaged, belly button's in. Making sure we're not hyperextending that lower part of the back as we extend that leg. If you find you get any movement from that lower back, then go for the easier version. Good. Go for 2 more on each side. And then the last one on each side. Good. And just draw it in there. Roll side to side if it feels comfortable. Just massaging that lower part of the back. Good. So from here, if you've got that strap or if you've got a towel works just as well. So all we're going to do is we're going to do what we call a P&F stretch. So this is a P&F stretch that you can do to yourself, which is perfect for the hamstrings, a common area that's quite tight. So what we're going to do, starting off on our base position, bring one foot up, get that strap, place it underneath the sole of the foot. So try and have a neutral position with the ankle. So if it's too far, close to your toes, and you're pulling it, you're going to get a massive stretch on the gastroc, the calf there, when really we want to try and be focused on getting that stretch on the hamstring. So just bringing it a bit further, closer towards the heel rather than the toe. And then all we're going to do is we're then just going to extend that bottom leg, the other leg, just to keep that pelvis in a good position. If that comes up and we pull that up, what we tend to do is we tend to just lift off that pelvis. So keep that foot down. Good. So find a position that's comfortable with the strap. And all we're going to do is we're going to inhale to prepare. And as we exhale, we're just going to try and apply that stretch to the back of the thigh on the hamstring, trying to keep your legs straight. Good. So P&F stretching. We're going to do about 6 seconds contraction of that hamstring. That'll allow the hamstring to kind of relax so we can get a bit more of a stretch out of it. So what we want to try and do when I say go is we want to try and almost force that leg down towards the floor with the strap being the resistance. So once we're ready, we're going to inhale and then we're going to start applying that force against the strap for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a big deep inhale. As we exhale, we're just going to slowly relax and we're going to try and pull that towards us to try and increase that stretch. You might have to adjust the strap a little bit. Try and have a comfortable position with your arms. Good. Hold that position. Same again, we're going to do the same. When you're applying that force into the strap, just slowly build up that force for about 6 seconds. Good, so same again, we're going to inhale to prepare. And as we exhale, we're just going to push against that strap. Good. For 3, 2, 1. Slowly ease out of that. Take an inhale. As we exhale, we're just going to pull that leg a little bit closer so we increase that stretch. If you're pulling a pain face, if your vein is clearly showing pain, you're probably going a bit too far. So go to a point of mild discomfort, never to the point of any kind of pain. Good. So we're going to do that one more time, 3 times in total. So inhale to prepare. Exhale as we slowly pull that leg in, as we kind of push that leg into the strap. Don't know what I was doing there. Good. For 3, 2, 1, and gently ease out of that. Last time, inhale, and as we exhale, we're just going to apply that stretch. If we can, go a little bit further, perfect. If not, hold that position. And then just slowly bend that leg there, giving yourself a little bit of a shake off. And then same again on the other side. So leg comes up, gonna place it underneath the strap. And then same again, we're just gonna drop that bottom leg. We're gonna find that stretch, keeping that leg straight. Again, making sure the strap isn't too high up towards the toe, it wants to be quite low to where the heel is. Good. And then same again. Once we found that point of that stretch, we're just going to slowly apply that force. So if you start pushing in against that band, holding it for 6 seconds, holding it for 3, 2, 1, gently ease out of that, and then same again, inhale, as we exhale, we're just going to pull that leg in a little bit closer until we feel that stretch. Again, you might have to adjust the strap if need be. You might find one leg's more flexible than the other. Good. Same again then. So we're going to slowly start pushing against that strap for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just ease out. Inhale. As we exhale, just trying to apply that stretch again, if we can go any further. If not, don't worry. Just hold it where it is. Good. So one last time then. Same again, slowly start applying that pressure. Just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ease out of that. Inhale, and then exhale. For the last time, trying to hold that stretch. And then slowly bending that leg. Coming back into our base position for now. This next one then, you extend both legs out. Legs want to be roughly about hip width apart. And then hands or elbows stay close to your rib cage, close to your torso as you do this one. Hands pointing up towards the sky. So this one's working the upper body, working the core. We're going to inhale to prepare, keeping the shoulders away from our ears. We're going to exhale as we lift the torso up, pushing our elbows in towards the ground, using the core. Inhale at the top, exhale as you slowly come back down. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale as you push back up. Inhale at the top. Exhale as you come back down. So if you're struggling with this one, because it is quite a tough one to do, all I want you to do instead is just push your elbows in towards the floor, hold it, then release. Pushing towards the floor, hold it and release. If you can go for the full version, even if it's just a little lift, then that's great. Go back down. Good, inhale at the bottom, exhale as you lift. Inhale, keep the chest up proud. Exhale as you come back down. Good. Quite a challenging one. Even for me, you should find it quite shaky as you're doing it. Good. Going for 2 more if you can. Good. And last one. Good. Slowly back down there under control. This next one, quite a nice one, nice stretching one. So we're going to come up, sit in, up as is. Do that any way you want. So with this one, I'm going to place the hands behind us. We're going to bend the legs. So just leaning back onto our arms, but we want to make sure that we're not kind of slouched in this position here. I want to emphasize pulling the sternum up in front, get the shoulders back and down, making sure the shoulders are away from the ears and pushing yourself away from the floor for doing it. So hand position, you can turn your wrists in if you prefer. Personally, I prefer having my wrist out because I haven't got that much range in my wrist. So in this position, all we're going to do is we're just going to slowly slide down. And this one's just working, moving the feet, moving the hips, giving the chest up proud. So we're getting a bit of a stretch in our shoulders, and then maybe in our biceps, depending on your hand position. If your fingers are pointing away, then you might get that stretch on the hands, on the biceps. So if you can go further, go ahead. Just making sure you're not slouching, keep that sternum up, shoulders away from the ears, pushing yourselves away from the floor. Good. So this one's quite a good one to do. We often lose that extension in our shoulders. And this one's just helping out when it comes to this next exercise, what we're going to do next. So just taking a few deep inhales. And then just walking hips back. Have a little bit of a shake out. Sometimes you can get a bit of pins and needles. It's completely fine as long as it comes back. So this next one, I'm going to start off similar position that we were in earlier. So when we're in this position here, but we're just going to extend both legs out. So 3 versions of this, or 3 levels to this one. So feet want to be either hip width apart. You can bring it a little bit closer if you wish. Completely up to you. So chest up proud. We're going to inhale to prepare. We're going to exhale as we lift the torso, lift the hips off the floor. Inhale as you hold it, exhale as you lower. And then same again, inhale to prepare, exhale lift, inhale hold, and exhale lower. Good. So you can see how what we did earlier to get that extension might help with this one. In the next level, continue with that one if you wish. To progress, we're just going to hold that supine plank position. Squeezing your bum, squeezing your glutes. Hold that position there. If we want to make it a bit more advanced, we're then going to apply a leg lift. Bring it back down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, slowly back down. Inhale, exhale, lift. Inhale, down. Just making sure chest stays proud. Try not to sink in the hip. 3, 2, 1, and then slowly lower down there. Good. Again, have a little bit of a rest, little shake out of the arms. This next one, I'm going to start off in that sitting position here, like so. Make sure we've got plenty of space behind us. So we're going to go into a roll back, so we can start off sitting up nice and tall, arms parallel to the ground. You can either point your feet, make it easier. Sometimes pointing your feet towards you makes it a little bit more challenging. So any position that you feel comfortable doing. We're going to inhale to prepare, sit up nice and tall. As we exhale, we're going to slowly peel that spine towards the floor. Where we feel our heels lift off the floor, we're going to hold, inhale, and then exhale as we slowly peel back up, reaching towards our feet. And inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale as we peel back down. Inhale as we hold. Exhale as we reach towards the toes again. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Good. Sit up nice and tall. Exhale as you slowly peel down. Again, as soon as we feel our feet, our heels lift off, hold it there. Good. So this next one is just progressing that. Continue with that if this is fine and a struggle enough. The next one is rolling back all the way, so actually doing a roll up. So starting off in this position, same again. You do the same thing as we just did. We're going to roll down. We're going to roll down all the way. And then from there, from the bottom, we're going to inhale, lift head and shoulders. We're then going to exhale as you peel one vertebrae at a time, reaching towards the feet. And then same again, inhale as you sit up nice and tall again. And then exhale, peel down one vertebrae at a time, all under control. To the bottom, inhale, head and shoulders lift. Exhale, peel one vertebrae at a time, reaching towards the toes. Inhale, exhale, and inhale, and exhale. So as we're starting to fatigue, just keep on thinking about that pelvic floor and that belly button, keeping the core engaged. So with this one, if you're caught somewhere in the middle between the curl up and the roll back, so what you can do, or roll up and roll back, so what you can do is you can use either a resistant band, or sometimes you can use a towel or something like that, put along the feet, and you can use that to help assist you as you're coming down and coming back up, where you can use and bend your arms to make it a little bit easier. So that's something we can maybe do another time. So next one, going to come down all the way, going to bend the legs to about 90 degrees, back into our base position, make sure we've got a bit of space behind us. And then all we're going to do is we're going to inhale to prepare. We're going to exhale as we lift the head and shoulders off the floor, reaching up towards our feet. Really emphasize getting the shoulders off. And then what we're going to do is we're going to inhale as we reach our arms up, making sure we don't sink in the shoulders, and then circle it back round as we exhale. Inhale, and then exhale as you circle the arms around. So every time you circle around, try and reach a little bit further up. Inhale, and then exhale coming around. And it's completely normal to feel a bit shaky. You want to make it challenging for yourself. If everything was easy and smooth, we probably won't be challenging ourselves. So reach towards the toes as we circle around. As we lift the arms overhead, make sure we're not sinking. Keep the shoulders up. Good, going for 3. Going for 2. And then going for the last one there. Circle arms round, pull the knees in, roll side to side if it feels comfortable. Good. So next one, quite a nice relaxing one. Now, so we're going to lie down on the side. We're going to grab hold that block or pillow, whatever you feel comfortable using. So rest the head on the pillow or block. We're going to bring our legs in to the edge of the mat. Want to be about 90 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at the knees, similar to a kind of fetal position really. Hands together. We're going to inhale as we reach up towards the sky. We're going to exhale as we lower towards the floor. Inhale back up to the sky, and then exhale back down. Good. Inhale to the sky, exhale down, inhale, and then exhale. Good. Going for 2 more of these. And then actually we're going to do 1 more of those. this time I'm just going to hold that position there and just try and relax into it a little bit longer. Take a few deep breaths. As you exhale, try and imagine sinking a little bit closer towards the floor. Good. And then inhale up to the sky. Exhale, come back down. Good. Pushing yourselves up. Getting a hold of that block. So, if you like me, you can hold a good position with your back for about 10 seconds and start finding you there and start slouching. Using the block or using a pillow just helps to emphasize that back, that pelvis and spine, keeping that in alignment. So sacroiliac joint, keeping that in a good alignment, keeping the pelvis, keeping the spine upright. Good. So in this one, we're going to inhale to prepare. We're going to place the hands down to the sides. We want to make sure both sitting bones are on the block or on the floor, making sure we're not leaning on one more than the other. So we're going to inhale to prepare. As we exhale, we're just going to reach across over to one side, getting that lateral flexion in the spine. Inhale, hold. Exhale as we slowly come back down. Inhale as we raise the arm. Exhale as we reach across. Inhale, hold. Exhale as we lower. Same again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, reach across. Inhale as we hold it. And exhale as we come back down. Same again. Good. One more on each side. And then the last one. And then grab and hold that block, place it on the other side, and the same again. We're coming back into that kind of fetal position we were in earlier, so 90 degrees at the hips, and knees rest your head on that block, hands out in front. So same again, we're going to inhale as we reach your hands up towards the sky, exhale as we come down over to the other side. Inhale back up to the sky, and exhale coming back down. Good. Inhale. And exhale. Good. As you're going around, just following your gaze, pulling the hand with your gaze back up to the sky. Well done. We're going to do one more. And we're just going to emphasize holding that position. So inhale up to the sky, exhale as you come down. We're just holding that position there. Take a few deep inhales, and as you exhale, just try and imagine sinking in towards the floor. Just going a little bit further. And then inhale, we're bringing the arm back up. And I'm back down under control. Good. And then what we're going to do is just come into a 4-point kneeling position. So we don't need that block now. Coming into that 4-point kneeling position. Good. So in this position here, hands underneath the shoulders, knees want to be underneath the hips. And all we're going to do is we're going to start off with some cat-cow. So we're going to use that to find our neutral position. So we're going to push the belly button in towards the floor, pushing the tailbone towards the sky, just looking ahead slightly, squeezing the shoulder blades together. So we're going to inhale as we do this, and then we're going to exhale as we push away from the floor, tuck the tailbone in, lifting the belly button off the floor. And then same again, inhale, and then we're going to exhale as we curl everything in. Again, just thinking about pelvic floor and core, making sure they're still engaged about 30% at least. Good. And then once we've found a middle point between these two extremes, so you've got extension, flexion, we want to find that middle point there, and we just want to hold that there. So then just doing a nice little mobilising one for the spine. So we're going to do thread the needle. We're going to inhale to prepare, keep the head and the shoulders away from your ears. Inhale to prepare. And we're going to exhale to pick up one hand and just thread it underneath the body. If you want, you can get the shoulder from the floor, rest your head on the floor, that's great. You're going to inhale as you hold it. You're going to exhale as you move, reach up towards the sky, the other side. Inhale as you hold that. And then same again, exhale as you thread it back underneath. Inhale as you hold, and exhale as you reach over to the other side. Good. One more. Good. And over to the other side. Good. Dropping that hand back down. Same again on the other side. So inhale to prepare. Exhale as you reach the hand underneath. Inhale, hold. Exhale as you reach up towards the other sky. Other side towards the sky. And same again, thread it underneath. Inhale as you hold. Exhale as you reach. Good. Last time. Dropping the hand down there. So next one, going into Superman's. So in this position, hands underneath the shoulders again, knees underneath the hips. So find that neutral point, hold it there. We're going to start off with one side. So we're going to inhale to prepare, shoulders away from the ears. As we exhale, we extend both hand and foot on the opposite sides, just having contact with the floor. So fingertips and toes just touching the floor there. We're then going to exhale as we lift, inhale as we lower. So I have to just move myself a little bit. So same again, exhale as you lift, inhale as you lower. Make sure there's no movement coming from the spine, so we shouldn't feel like we're hyperextending that lower part of the back. We want to keep that in a neutral position. Just emphasising the extension coming from the hip instead of the lower back. Good. So exhale as you lift, inhale as you lower, just tapping the floor and straight back up. On the opposite side, just making sure you're not sinking in that arm, keep that shoulder away from the ear. Good. And then last one, just holding it there at the top a little bit longer, emphasise lifting that leg up, keeping the leg straight, reaching the fingertips. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then slowly lower down there. If you need to give your wrists a little bit of a shake out, go ahead. And then same again on the other side. So we're going to extend opposite leg, opposite arm, fingertips just touching the floor. Inhale as we keep that shoulder away, and then exhale as we lift up. Inhale as we just tap the floor, exhale coming back up. So often, I quite often mention, imagine you've got a tray of food just sitting on your back. We want to make sure we don't spill anything over. So it's a nice little visual to think about, especially if you do find that your lower back starts to arch as you lift that leg up. So if you want, just imagine you've got a tray of hot food on your back and you do not want to spill that. Good. Just going for a couple more. And holding it there at the top. Again, keep that shoulder away from your ears. 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Slowly lower it down there. Sit back onto your heels to take a moment to recover. Give your wrist a little roll out if you need to. Good. And then coming into 4-point kneeling position again. This time we're going to curl the toes under, like so. We're going to come into a position where we can hover our knees off the mat. If you're struggling hovering your knees off the mat, don't worry, just drop it back down. this can be the rest point as you do the movement. So if you can, hover the knees off the mat. We're going to inhale to prepare. We're going to exhale as we lift up the hip up towards the sky, and then from that point there, we're going to slowly extend the legs, dropping the heels down into downward dog. Inhale as you hold it, and then exhale as you slowly lower back down towards the mat, just hovering the knees off. Good. Inhale, and then exhale again, lift up, slowly extend the knees and drop the heels, but keeping that hip up nice and high, pushing yourself away from the mat. Good. Same again, exhale as you come down, inhale as you hover in the knees, exhale as you come back up again. Good. Inhale and then exhale. Going at your own pace. Good. Almost there. Good. Just going for the last one. And on this last one, I'm just going to pedal the feet out a little bit. So just walking the dog. I think they call it in yoga. Good. And slowly dropping the knees down there. So this next one, going for what we call a reverse Nordic curl. So with this one, feet want to be about hip width apart. If you need to, you can actually fold the mat up a couple of times so you can rest your knees on the mat, so it's a bit more cushioning. I'll do it for now. So in this position, you can either curl your toes under like so, or keep the feet flat. Personally, I prefer to keep the feet flat, but you can do either or. In this position, we want to fully extend at the hip. Hands come parallel to the ground. We're going to inhale as you slowly reach back, keeping that hip in extension, and then exhale as you come back up again. So you'll find as you're doing this, the lower you go, the harder it gets. But make sure you go to a point where you know you can come back up again. Don't want anyone falling back. Good. So inhale as you come back. Exhale as you extend. So you should really be feeling this in the quads, in the front of the thigh. Good. Going for two more. And then the last one. And then extending that mat back out, just doing a nice hip stretch. So if we bring one leg up, so you want to be making sure that that heel stays on the ground. Shouldn't lift up as we're doing this. We're going to tuck the tailbone in slightly, making sure we're not rounding that lower part of the back. In that position there, we're just going to think about driving the hips forwards. We should feel a little bit of stretch on the opposite side in the hip. Holding that position there, making sure we're not arching. Tuck the tailbone in, imagine tilting the pelvis back. And it's quite a nice one to do, particularly at this point where a lot of people are sitting behind desks or sitting on the sofa. We're in that kind of flex position. It's quite a nice one to be doing if we're doing a lot of time, spending a lot of time sitting. Good. So dropping it down there, going for the other side, bring the foot up. Same again, tuck the tailbone in, drive the hip forward, and you should be feeling that stretch just on the hip flexor there. Again, making sure we're not getting that hyperextension. Good. Good. So the last few then, more for again posture related stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down into prone position, all the way down to the floor. Make sure we've got a bit of space so we can reach our arms overhead. And then what we're going to do, in fact what you can do, is grab hold of that block. You can just rest your forehead on the block, so you're not face planting the floor. And then from this point here, placing the hands down to the side. This one we call the dart. So we're going to make sure that we've got contact with the floor with our feet, so our feet don't leave the floor. Feet want to be about hip width apart, putting the knees out slightly. Good, so in this position, we're going to inhale to prepare. As we exhale, we're going to lift the head, chin, retract the shoulders, lift the chest, and then reach the hands up to the sky and down towards our feet. Inhale as you hold it. Exhale, just slowly reverse it, coming back down, resting your head back on the block. So same again. Inhale, exhale, head, chin, shoulders, chest. Reaching the hands up towards the sky and down to the feet. Inhale as you hold. Exhale as you slowly come back down. So it's really important in this one as well that we try and make sure our gaze continues to look in towards the mat and not out in front. So we want a neutral position in our neck, but slightly retracted. And same again, we're coming back down. So if you want to make this a little bit tougher, you can just increase the tempo. So you can exhale as you come up, and then inhale as you come down, and exhale. So you're just increasing that tempo. And then this next one, starting off in that kind of Venus position, or halfway through the point in the dart, we're going to go into a breaststroke. So we're going to start off in this position. We're going to inhale to prepare. We're going to exhale and bend our arms, reaching it forward as if we're doing a breaststroke, diving into the pool, head just hovering above the block. Then we're going to inhale as you circle our arms round as we come back into that dart position. So exhale as you dive in, inhale, circle it round. So going for what we call a breaststroke. Then exhale, inhale, exhale, and inhale. If you're struggling with this one, it's a bit more harder than the dart. If you're struggling with this one, just go back to the dart. That's pretty fine. And the last one. That's it. And then just bending your arms there. Just take a moment, take a deep breath in. Good. And then pushing yourself up. Coming into a 4-point kneeling position. You don't need that block now, so place it to the side. So this one, going into what they call a puppy pose in yoga. So knees want to be underneath the hips. We're going to slowly walk our hands forwards, coming to a point where we can just almost rest the head on the floor. Bring the sternum down to the ground. Just making sure our hips stay over our knees, holding that point there. This one's quite a nice one to do on the thoracic spine, just to try and increase that mobility. Again, if you imagine if we're sat behind a desk or sitting on a sofa, quite often we're kind of slouched in this position. So this is just doing the opposite and trying to increase that range, increase that mobility. Good. So just close your eyes, concentrate on your breathing, coming into the final stages. Good. And then what we're going to do is you're going to walk your hands back slightly. You're going to widen your knees towards the edge of the mat. Bring your heels together and just sit back onto your heels. And just take all the pressure away from your shoulders. Try and completely relax. Concentrate on your breathing. That's it. Big inhale through the nose and then out through the mouth, slow as you can. Good, and then once you're ready, slowly come into a sitting position. And we're all sorted. That's everything for today. Hope you found it fairly useful, considering the circumstances. Doing it on video link is a bit strange for me, but hopefully if it goes well, if you've enjoyed it, I might do another one next week. But let me know how you found it. So brilliant, well done, thanks, cheers.